Have you ever wanted to get into commercial real estate but just could never seem to figure out how to get into deals like that? Well, I'm going to tell you how to do those today. My name's Jeremy Mercer. I'm the CEO of Matador Capital. In my career, I've brokered over 9 million square feet and $300 million in transaction volume. I also acquired 35 million last year, and we're on track to acquire 100 million this year in assets. Okay, have you ever wanted to get into commercial real estate but you couldn't really figure out how to get in there? I'm going to tell you a couple different ways. First off, I think that you should think about what factors you need to consider in getting into a commercial real estate investment, because these investments are not liquid assets. These don't work like a stock. So let's talk about the different ways you can get into these. First thing, like a stock, you can invest into a public REIT. Public REITs are publicly traded on the stock exchange. They aggregate and buy properties. You're not buying an individual property with them at each time. You're buying into their company that buys property, and those are liquid investments. You can get in and out of those on the stock exchange like any other stock. Another way to get into is through syndication. So a syndication is going to be, imagine just a group of investors that come together to syndicate to buy a property. And there's usually a sponsor up top that is running the charge. Imagine it like a business. It's just like a business, and this guy's the president and he's running the company and he's paying you as shareholders, but it's all privately held. So another thing with syndication is they are typically on a deal-by-deal basis. So it is that entity for that property for that life cycle where you will be in that investment. So another way to get into it is through being able to invest in a fund. Some more like mid-level operators, they create a fund. Well, a fund is where they will say they are going to raise a certain amount of money, call it $100 million, and they will then place that money, and that fund will have a theme behind it, whether it be Class B industrial buildings, multifamily, value add, some kind of theme of what they're going to be buying with that fund. So when you invest into a fund, you really don't have the discretionary ability to say, I want this property, not that one, versus a syndication. So a fund is where you just completely trust that sponsor to go buy these things, and they are going to cycle out of that fund, usually in a time frame of 5 to 7 years, and end up returning all your money then. So there's goods and bads about funds. Good, you don't have to think about each deal. The bad thing, in my opinion, is sometimes funds, I feel like, kind of give sponsors, they don't keep them focused because they have to spend the money. And that's how they make money, is by spending that money. But a lot of good operators work through a fund. And then another way to get into it now that has become very popular is crowdfunding. There's websites like Cadre and stuff like that where people are syndicating these deals out and they're crowdfunding them, and you can put in $1,000 into a deal. It's very similar to a syndication, but typically a syndication is usually a group of people that all know each other, whereas a crowdfunding it's open to the world to invest into this deal. So to recap, getting into commercial real estate investments, just think about how much money you have to allocate into it. And then the other options you have, the liquid option is investing in a public REIT on the stock exchange, doing a syndication with a sponsor that you know or have met, or investing in a fund with a sponsor that's on a little higher level, or doing a crowdfunding deal on a larger platform. If you got any questions on anything like this, reach out, leave me a comment, shoot me a DM. My name's Jeremy Mercer. I'm here to help you with those things.